Welcome to
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today to talk to you about everything entertainment.
Everything entertainment.
And in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get started this week. And to finish out Black History Month, I'm going to give some of the, some additional, I guess I'll say, because there's many more than the list that we've gone over on this show this month, but some additional Black history items and inventions that have been created by former slaves, basically, for lack of a better way of saying it, or people who came from
were
born into slavery or came from slavery. So we're going to start with things L through T right now. I didn't have any Z's or U's or anything
pretty sure
like that,
is.
but there's probably umbrellas or something like that that's out there. But the lantern,
the xylophone.
Exactly. Exactly. So the lantern was Michael Harvey in 1884. The lawn sprinkler was John H. Smith in 1897.
That's cool.
The lemon squeezer, John Thomas White in 1893. The lock, there you go. Washington A. Martin in 1893 as well. The lunch pail, James Robinson in 1887. A mailbox, Paul Downing in 1891. The mop, Thomas Stewart in 1893. A lot in 1893.
Yeah, I was about to say a lot still happened in the 1890s.
Exactly. Well,
that was the hot
1890s
year
in general. Yeah,
that was
you're
a
right.
hot year.
Yeah. Pencil sharpener. You might have mentioned that on your list. I feel like potentially, and I might have missed it. But John Love in 1897. The record player, arm. So the arm for the record player to play the records.
The needle and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So that was Joseph Dickinson in 1819. The rolling pin. I mean, come on. How many? Biscuits.
Biscuits, pies,
everything.
You're not getting far if you don't have a rolling pin.
If you don't have a rolling pin, you're right about that. And that was John Reed in 1864. Shampoo.
What?
And that was Charles Bailiff in 1898.
So black people invented soap and shampoo?
Wait, hold on. I read that wrong. Shampoo headrest. So when you're getting your
hair washed
and you lay your head back on top of the headrest, that is something that was created. Which, I mean, how much does your neck hurt while you're just trying to wash your own hair?
I remember being a child and being like washing your hair in the sink, and then you're like leaning back, and it's like, but the metal hurts.
Right, exactly. So that shampoo headrest, that's the one right there. Yeah. All right, and then we have the spark plug.
Huh, okay.
Edmund Berger, 1839. The stethoscope.
Oh.
Yep. Thomas Carrington in 1876. The straightening comb, Madam C.J. Walker. Her home is right here in the wonderful state of Virginia, the city of Richmond. So in the Jackson Ward area, that was in 1905. First black female millionaire. Yep. And that's a great show to watch, too. The Madam C.J. Walker show that was on Netflix, I feel like. I'm trying to remember. But, that was good with Octavia Spencer. Yep, great show. Yeah. We have the street sweeper, Charles Brooks in 1890. The thermostat control, Frederick Jones in 1960. And the tricycle, Matthew Cherry in 1886.
The tricycle, okay.
Yeah.
I'm with it because, I mean, why not?
So, I mean, it's so many things. Like when I think back to like a starting with A's on this list, and it's like air conditioning, to biscuit cutters, to the roller for the biscuits, to the rods for the curtains, to the folding chairs, to the fountain pen, to the gas mask, to the ironing board, to the lock, to the keychain.
To the keychains.
Oh my gosh, it's like so many things that
just
were invented based on the fact that, and you know what probably happened is that you have the slaves who probably just like could see things.
Yeah, it was just like, you know what, if we had something that did this would work out.
This would work, but I can't get to that point because I'm here doing this work, so in the field.
And then it's like somebody, they mentioned it to somebody else, to another kid or something like that, and that kid was just like, oh my God, my dad wanted this. My grandmother was tired of squeezing those lemons herself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she always said, if I just had something to squeeze these lemons and then make the lemon squeezer. Yep. And now we have like 7 million different kinds of lemon squeezers. Types of lemon and lime and everything.
Yeah, like all the squeezers. Yeah, because the one that I actually bought off Amazon is like yellow and green.
Yeah, so you're the lemon and the lime.
You want the lemon and the lime. Yeah, like, let's just do that. So, yeah. So really just amazing accomplishments and just, wanted to just give some recognition where recognition was due for Black History Month. Absolutely. And I'll be talking about some, I guess, shows that have some Black characters, for lack of a better way of saying it. One's a documentary I'll be covering tonight, and that I didn't get to last week or today. Sorry,
I'm doing
then
a documentary too.
Yeah, and then the other is a show. So or a movie. I'm sorry, but just wanted to cover some things that have some African American leads.
Yeah.
So that's all I had for the first one.
That's good. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So what did you have, sis?
All right. So my documentary is on Netflix. It's called Genius.
Okay, I feel like I
think it's GEEN-YUHS.
I did not see that then, no.
It is a documentary of Kanye West and how he came about, but it's it's in shows, it's in like episodes.
Genius.
No, I mean, no, it's like how the pronunciation of genius is. Okay. So it's like if you have it in the dictionary, it's like genius, and then it's like how you would pronounce it.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. So I swear, Kanye is crazy. But he is
genius.
Crazy genius. And all right, so like the show, it's like you realize so much about him like when you're watching this, because it's a documentary, and it was just one of his friends, Cootie, who was just like, I met this kid. He was like, I met this kid at this. He was doing he used to have a show on like some like public channel or something like that, and it was called Channel Zero. And then he was going out and he was like going to like different like hip hop parties and stuff like that. And he was like, there was always this like young little 18, 19-year-old kid, Kanye West, that was around. And it was like, yeah, he's like a hot producer. He's a hot producer. Mm-hmm. And then like, but he would never say anything because he was shy. He was like shy. But like when he first came out and like you see him, and then the Cootie was like, yo, if this dude is blowing up, I'm going to ask him if I can like follow him around because I know he's about to blow up. And that's because he had, he did a song in, what was it? He did a song in 2000 for Beanie Siegel. Okay. That then made Jay-Z, which Beanie Siegel is underneath Jay-Z. So then Jay-Z was on the song with Beanie Siegel, and then Jay-Z was like, oh, I'm making this album called The Blueprint. Kanye, can you produce 5 of my 13 songs? Mm. And those songs are like bangers, like The Takeover, H to the is O, B to the is A. Yeah, he did that one. Heart of the City, ain't no love in the heart of the city. Mm-hmm. Never Change, and then girls, I do. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Kanye West did all
of those songs.
All of those.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and that's just that one album. I think that was like one of Jay-Z's best albums also.
Gotcha.
But so it goes to that, and then it's like his mom was there every step of the way. And his mom was his biggest fan. And it's always just been him and his mom. Right. So when I say his mom was his biggest fan, it wasn't just like, yeah, that's my baby, he raps and he produces. She's like, hey, Kanye, you remember that time when you had said this when you was like 14 years old? And you was like, and she spits a rhyme that he said when he was 14 years old. Oh, wow. So like, and he's saying it. She was like, no, that wasn't it. It was this. And she's saying it. She's like saying it back to him.
She corrected him on his rhyme.
Yeah, because he was like, it was so long ago. But she was like, yeah. And she was like, and then when you did this one, and then like, so she's like his biggest fan. She's like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. She was like, you just keep on going. Like, don't stop. He was like, one day I'm going to buy you a house. I'm going to buy you a car. You never have to worry about anything. Like, I got you. And she's like, I know. She said, I know you're destined for greatness. And it's just like, you genuinely seeing that. And then she is everywhere in the documentary. Like, every episode she's there. Yeah. Like, every 20 minutes she's popped up. Yeah.
Because she was probably there. She was probably in the studio. She was probably
everywhere. She was in the studio.
She was just like, yeah.
Like, he was just like, Mom, we coming back from New York. And it's like 1:00 in the morning. He's knocking on her apartment door. And she's just like, hey, Kanye, yeah, come on now. What's your friends' names? Mm-hmm. Okay, hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm Donda. Nice to meet you. Then she's sitting down talking to them and stuff like that. And then, she's just there. Yeah. So I mean, it's like I can understand why when she passed away, how much that hurt him and how much that damaged him. Oh yes,
devastating. And plus, knowing that he probably, because you have to think of the guilt that sometimes goes along with that. That like because I made it. Because I had an abundance of money that I could pay for her to have a surgery, she was on the table, or she ended up, passing away from, and I think that sad, it's really sad. It really is, and especially for something that's a freak situation.
Like a clot or something like that.
It's not something that you would have anticipated happening.
Exactly. So I mean, then also it could be like, you know what? But I mean, like I gave my mom everything she wanted, and I gave her that. I gave her that ability to go ahead and pay for this surgery that she wanted to do. So but I mean, like it shows how hard he worked to get to where he was. Like because when he started off as a producer, and then he was trying like all these. Like different people were like, man, you're so good. Like we want you to be in this record label. And he was like, nah, I want to be with Rockefeller. And then Rockefeller wasn't having like Dame Dash was like, all right. I hear you, man. I hear you. All right. Well, I'll get back with you. Yeah. But then there were other ones like Talib Kweli and Mos Def. They were on a whole different label, and that dude was like, look, I can get you in. Like, I got you. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you will fit so well. He was like, you're a lyrical person, and, like, you talk about real stuff. You're not like Rockefeller where they're talking about jewelry chains and, like, when they used to be drug dealers and all that other stuff. He was like, you are not that kind of hip-hop artist. And he was just like, he's like, I understand that I'm not. He said, but I still feel like that's at home. And then finally, Rockefeller went ahead and gave him his chain, but then after he got his chain, then it was like years before they even allowed him to drop his album.
Right.
He his first song, Through the Wire. Yeah. He paid for it himself.
Oh, got it.
He had to steal studio time. To make College Dropout, he had to steal studio time for people. So like Jamie Foxx had a studio in his house, so he was just like, "Hey man, I want you to be on this song. Also, can we just like record this in your house? Like I'm gonna play this song for you." And then be like, "Oh, I like that song." Be like, "Hey, all right, I want you to do this part, but can we record the whole song in here?"
Right, exactly.
It's like, "Oh yeah, man, no problem." So he was doing that, and I mean, like that's what Kanye, when he came out with that album, that was like the best Kanye ever.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise colored Benz, I push Miracle Whips. Come on.
All of his, I mean, he comes up with some amazing, like, I don't know where his brain gets.
I don't know.
From.
I know.
Like, just to come up with the line of what it is. Or, like, you start to write it, and how many times do you have to mark through something to get to where that is? Or do you even have to?
So then they show, like, in the documentary, they show him, like, sitting in the dentist, and he's, like, he's, like, after he gets like the wires and everything out, then he's sitting there and he's just like, I want a dog like what is that? I want a dog like Whoopi with a neck like what's the dude's name? The Frederick Whitaker. He's like, I want a dog like
Forrest
Whoopi.
Whitaker?
I mean Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
He was like, I want a dog like Whoopi with a neck like Forrest. And then he was like, some cassette tape. And then you see him, he's just sitting there.
And it's just coming to him.
Yeah. And then he was just like, all right, so the sex tape. All right. And then you just see him. He's not writing anything down. He's just sitting there. And in his mind, he's doing that.
Yeah. And I think that there are people that I've seen on some documentary, I can't remember, but where they even just see things in tones and lyrics.
Yeah.
Like just how you might see something and you're like, oh, I see the color of that. Yeah. But like they'll see, or people might see an aura of something. Yeah, exactly. So to speak. Yeah. But then there's other people who just see music.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Everything that happens. Yeah,
everything,
you see a flower blooming, it becomes a song. You see this.
Exactly.
Everything that you experience.
It's like comedians. Comedians can see
comedy
and everything.
In the worst situation. Make it comedic.
Like Pete Davidson talking about his dad being ashy.
That's terrible.
It's terrible, but it's the comedy.
Exactly.
That's how he grieves. He's like, my dad died in 9/11. He's a little ashy.
And it's like you sit there and you're just like, how in the world could you say that?
Yeah, how can you say something like that? But then it's just like,
and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like the dark humor. But then it's kind of like, all right, I shouldn't laugh at that. But I mean, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, there are some comedians that have that dark or dry humor.
No,
It does. It comes across different ways to different people.
I feel like people who are like artists artist in general. It doesn't matter if it's music, like comedy, actor, actress, any kind of artist at all.
Yeah.
It's something. It's something about them. It's like, I don't know if it's something like trauma or something like that that makes them the best. Makes them the best.
Well, I mean, they're probably too like, what do I have to lose? Like, let me just put it all out there and be my true authentic self because, like I've gone through some things.
Yeah, but I've gone through some things. Yeah. I've been through some stuff. So,
exactly.
This is how I feel.
Yep. And this is how I process it. And for a lot of people, it's their therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their therapy.
Like people who like paint. It's like, okay, like this is how I'm feeling right now. And then they paint something and they stand back and just like, oh, wow, I made that.
Yeah.
Because they zone out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's rappers who just like write some stuff out and then they go back and read it and be like, oh, wow, that was good.
Yeah. Or the ones that just freestyle it right out. And you're just like, what in the world? Like, how do you just think on your feet like that?
Yeah,
but, in a way, though, like you and I are talking like that right now, like just having a conversation so other people can rap like that.
Exactly.
And just like, I just know how to, have a straight conversation without it rhyming at the end where they... on the other hand, have it so that they do, you know? So,
So, like, with Kanye, what he did was he made a beat for Mos Def.
Okay.
Right? So, and then as he makes the beat for Mos Def, and he's still trying to be a rapper. So he's like, hey, man, look, I know you about to leave the studio and everything. I made this beat for you. He was like, but really quick, let me say this to you. And he just goes ahead and he says his little rhyme. And Mos Def was like, I gotta work with you, man. He was like, I know that you you a producer and a rapper. Right. He was like, but like the stuff that you say is so clever. Pharrell, he said something for Pharrell, and Pharrell walks out the room. And Pharrell comes back and he was just like, I didn't know.
I had no idea.
He said, I knew you was like me with a producer and we good with that. He said, I didn't know that you could. He was like, you do it all.
Yeah.
He was like, I didn't know. He just kept saying, yo, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
It's just so interesting that he's a interestingly woven person.
Yeah, absolutely.
In regards to how, from a fashion perspective, because I see the clothes that he comes out with, and the shoes and stuff, and I'm like, definitely not for me.
Yeah.
It looks like it's for somebody, but
In the documentary, he talks about that. Okay. He said that while he was in the hospital, I think he was like in the hospital for like 7 weeks or something like that. And he said while he was in the hospital, he said he was like looking at like some award show, and he was just like, I'm going to be the best dressed rapper. So Mos Def has him come on Def Comedy Jam. Okay. And he comes on there, but he's not rapping. He comes on there and he actually does a verse from All Falls Down. I went through from all, it all falls down. And he was like, he goes, I'm so self-conscious. And then he just says the whole verse, but he says it like poetry.
Oh, gotcha.
And not rapping it.
Right.
So he was like, what he said, he said one line where he was like, a drug dealer buys Jordan and a crackhead buys crack, but the white man gets paid out of all of that. And it's like, yo, you never even think like, the stuff that he thinks of. Like he's not from here.
He's definitely, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's not from here.
It's just so, it's like, it's so many extremes. Like that's why I'm stumbling trying to come up with my words because
there's no word for him.
Many extremes.
There's no word.
Lyrically, I mean, I've downloaded songs. I don't know. I have more like College Dropout.
College Dropout was the best.
I got the flashing lights. I got the stronger.
You got the College Dropout, late registration.
I got some of those on my phone. So when I'm working out, it's like, okay, I can jog to this beat, or something like that, and I know all the words and whatever. So for me. I liked that Kanye. I feel like even Jesus Walks and all that kind of stuff, I'm good with that. And then there's other things that I'm just like, I don't know where you're coming from, man. Like,
I didn't know how old the beat for Jesus Walks is. It's like 1998 he made that.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like he was just like, hey, I got this track I want y'all to listen to. And like it's just before his accident, he's wearing like these big I don't even know. There might be like Pele suit. I mean, like jumpsuits and stuff like that. And like he's playing that, and they're just like, "Yo, we have never heard nothing like that before."
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah. He's like, but I'm trying to figure out who sounds good on this. But he kept doing that for every artist that he went to.
Oh,
he would play it and just be like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
And then it ended up being his.
Yeah.
Song for him
but so he said that he's like, when I make beats, he said I don't make them to give out. He said I make them for myself to rap on. So he said, but then people want to buy them from me. So
yeah. Got it.
Yeah, but
and then he probably hears their song and like, I could have done so much better. Like depending on what it is. Yeah. You know, he's probably like,
one of the songs that he gives to Mos Def. When like you hear it and you just like, okay, yeah, I know this, and then it's like, wait, what? Kanye was on this, and Kanye started the verse, and then it became Kanye's song featuring Mos Def and Talib Kweli.
Yeah, because he was like, all right, I'll let you buy it, but. You don't have to buy all of it. I'll put some.
Yeah, but then they wanted to work with him. So, you know, I think it was good.
I mean, you know, when you got a hot, you know, writer, producer, all of that, like you have to be flexible to what they can bring to the table too, because that's huge. So,
but right now I'm into like the second episode of it, and I think they're like an hour and a half long or something like that. But I'm into
how many episodes are there?
I don't know for sure. I have to double check that. But yeah, I'm just now getting into it, and I mean, so far it's good because I mean, it's all the songs.
Yeah.
Like, and you just like, oh yeah, I remember that song, and you have to go back and like listen to it.
And so somebody's just documenting all of this in real time from before his accident.
Yep.
Everything up until
from like I want to say he was like in his 20s all the way up until now, and like what is it? So they just so on March 2nd, so they released them weekly. Okay. So on March 2nd, they're gonna go ahead and release the third episode. Okay. But it's Genius, what is JEEN-YUHS. And it's called a Kanye Trilogy. So I guess the third one is gonna be the last one.
Oh, the last one is the third one. Okay.
But it's really good. Everybody check it out on Netflix. That's all I got. What you got up next?
I have the Mary J. Blige documentary. I'm searching for a real love. Okay, I'm not going to sing.
No, we do not have the rights to that song.
We do not have the rights to that song.
I feel like we have to say that every time.
I don't think about it.
I just don't want us to get sued. We ain't got no money.
Think about it. But so I mean, it's on Amazon Prime. It was a really good documentary. I feel like in regards to, you know, I talked about a few weeks ago the Janet Jackson documentary and how that one, you know, gave a little bit of insight in regards to her, but you didn't really get a whole lot of information. Yeah. You know, it's nothing. Oh, yeah.
Mary J. Blige, I'm sure she goes in. Yeah.
She gives you everything. She is raw.
Yeah. Like, and it makes you be like, yo, like, you was going through stuff. Yeah. And like everybody's thinking like, oh, she's making songs about like stuff that we go through. No, she's making songs about what she was going through.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, it goes through just her life, you know, starting out in Yonkers and then moving to New Jersey, you know, the fact that she has, you know, 31 nominations for Grammys. She's won 9 of them. She had 50 million albums sold. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's huge numbers for her. And it was just very eye-opening for me, you know, like I said, with the Janet Jackson one, I didn't know what to expect, but it was 4 episodes and you really didn't get that much.
Yeah, you didn't get
new
much insight,
other than her saying that she supposedly doesn't have a daughter. Like that's the only thing that I, you know, have kind of heard.
And then she loves men that were on drugs.
Yeah, and that she loved men, that she always fell in love with men who had addictions, which I guess Jermaine Dupri didn't have a drug addiction, but he had a work addiction. Yeah. Right, exactly. And so those were kind of the only things you really gained. And even with Janet, although she said she didn't have a child, she didn't say she didn't have a child. She said, I would never keep a child away from their father. That's how she answered that question. Yeah. So it's kind of like, but did you answer it? So anyway, I'll leave that alone. But in regards to Mary J. Blige, it was very eye-opening. You know, I always remember people saying that, you know, Mary's best albums was when she was going through. Yeah, through the worst things going on in her life. That's when she had the best albums. And I was like, okay, all right, I get it. Like, it's sad because you have to be going through something to put that out there. Yeah. But at the same time, it was almost like people were rooting for her to go through things so they could hear that old school Mary J. Blige, you know? And I was like, so when she was happy, everybody's like, she's singing.
Just fine. Yeah, but then that did become the anthem, and everybody was just like,
yeah, everybody liked that. And let's get it crunk in this desert.
We do not own the rights to that song.
We do not own the rights to that one either. But anyway, so she, it's sad that people wanted her to go through something so that she could put out better music. Yeah. But at the same time, she just said, as she was going through, like you said, it was therapy for her to write it all out and to explain. So when she's saying don't leave, or when she's saying, all these songs about the things that are going on and what's bad and what's not working and all of that, it's because she was literally living that and going through that. And so she talked about her time with KC, from KC and JoJo and Jodeci, and how they were both growing in their careers.
And I didn't even know that they dated. I don't remember that.
Was a thing. I was young. You were like 2. No, I'm just joking, but you were young, right? Exactly. So, but they were both growing in their careers, and she was like, he didn't want me to shine so that he could shine. Yeah. And if I started shining, then we would have confrontations, and problems. And so she really just talked about the fact that, he was, I know, right? He was. It sounds like verbally and physically abusive to her, which was very terrible. Yeah. And, just the things that she had to put up with. And
but then she made a hit record from that.
Yeah. I mean, literally, as she's going through it, she's writing all this music and all these words. And then Puffy, or Sean Puffy Combs, or P. Diddy, or whatever his name
Brother
is.
Love now.
Is he Brother Love?
Brother
no,
Love.
He'll never be that to me.
Just Brother Love.
But he's not to me. So I'm not going there. I'm sorry. So it's like I'm never going to call.
He changed his name too many times.
I'm never going to say Yeezy or anything like that either. Like, it's just not my.
Well, it's Ye now.
Or Ye. I'm not saying that either.
It's just 2 letters. That's his whole name.
Ye. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not going for it. I'm not going for the okie doke, because they're going to change it, as they always do. Puppy has done 15
Would
times.
You ever call Jay-Z Hova?
No.
Hove.
No. No. I mean, right, if he wants to call himself that, he is Jay-Z. Or Mr. Combs, or whatever you want to call him.
So when we become popular, you are not coming to the parties that I'm coming to, because they're going to be like, she ain't going to call us by our name.
What?
Like,
I don't have to call you anything.
Okay, like...
Like, all right,
I'm not going to the party either.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll call them by their birth name on their birth certificate.
I'm pretty sure they would hate that.
They probably would, but anyway. So, so she, would do her recordings. She and Puffy were both going through things at the same time, it sounds like. So he had where his son, Justin's mom, they were breaking up. And so he was like, I'm sitting in the studio crying, she in the studio crying, we just trying to get this album out, and, all of that. So it was kind of interesting to hear them be so authentic to just the pain that they were going through and how hard everything was, and that they were using the pain to create something beautiful, really.
Yeah.
And so they talked about her My Life, My Life, My Life, My Life.
And how that song, song was deep.
So her My Life album, basically she was saying how challenging it was for her to accept, like, my life in the sunshine. Like, my life has not been in any sunshine. Exactly. I have had a very hard life. And so therefore she just said that song just resonated with her. And her mom always played music. Her mom always would sing with whoever was on the TV and almost try to emulate whoever was on the TV. And so she tried to emulate her mom. Yeah. So, it was just like, that's how she started singing. And she went to sing Anita Baker at different events and things like that. And that was her.
It was Rapture.
Rapture was her song that she would just like go to places and just sing Anita Baker. And then the guy Andre Harrell, I think is his last name. Harrell. Yeah. Okay. So he ended up seeing her singing that, or getting a tape or something to know that she was singing, and he was like telling her mom and her sister, like, she's gonna go places, like she is really, really good. But then Mary also was like, I didn't trust anybody. I never smiled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She
said she didn't show anything.
She didn't show anything because she was like, I have seen so much in my life. My mom was abused, and then she ended up later being abused and all of that. So she was like, smiling was weakness. Yep. So whenever you saw me, I wasn't going to smile.
No.
And she said she fed off of people's energy too. So she was like, if you come at me with some crazy question in an interview, I'm giving you yes or no answers, period.
Yeah,
I'm not
elaborating.
going to entertain you at all. And so she even showed in the documentary, like her in an interview, and the lady was like,
when she was younger.
So like asking her questions. She was maybe, I don't know, 19 or something like that. And she was just looking at the lady like,
yeah, like.
Well, I mean, I just don't even want to talk about that. Like, you know, she was just like, I'm not playing with you. Yeah. Like, I don't have time for this.
Look, it was like, you understand that my PR people don't care.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So she really just, like I said, just was it felt very authentic for it being a self-promoted, her executive producing a documentary. A lot of times when they do that, it is a lot of fluff. And this felt like she talked about drugs. She talked about depression. She talked about molestation. She talked about all these different things.
And I feel like with her doing her music, that was a big step by putting all of her stuff out there, but that did make her like who she is. And I feel like her like doing the documentary was probably an even bigger step for her to be able to put all of that out there.
Yeah. I mean, she was making herself vulnerable. A person who was so closed off when she was 19. And now what did she say? She's 50, 51, and she's like, I'm putting it all out there. Yeah. I'm exposing myself in every way possible. Yeah.
And she looked good.
And she looks amazing. Yeah. And she looked amazing on the Super Bowl.
Does she have kids? She has kids, right?
I don't even know if she has kids.
Think she has kids.
I don't know. I am not sure. But she was saying that, you know, for that album, she was singing songs about please love me, don't go, help me, like I need you, like all those types of words were in those songs. And she was just like, it was just because of what she was going through. And she just, you know, had to put it all out of there and get it out of her. Yeah. And to put it on the paper and to put it into the song, which is why I think it resonated with so many people. Because you have to think, everybody in life goes through a breakup.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you go through a breakup, and you want to hear music that's like quote unquote breakup music, then that's probably where you Mary J. Blige. You go to Mary J. Blige music, exactly. So I know, right? Oh gosh, Keith Sweat just sounds like a country singer to me. That it's like nobody. Yeah, exactly. So you know, which is fine. I mean, I actually liked Lionel Richie's country song that he had out. So I mean, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I don't mind. Like I listen to all genres of music. I don't care. I got friends in low places. That's the jam right there. So anyway, but Garth Brooks, hello. Okay. Anyway, so no, I do. I love all kinds of music. But anyway, Keith Sweat definitely sounds like a country singer. Yeah. But I digress. But going on, she was just saying that basically, you know, she felt that she lacked self-love. Like she felt like she just didn't know how. Like she deserved love. She knows she needed to be loved, but she just had too much insecurity into the point that she just felt like she lacked that self-love. And she was just saying that so much had happened to her that she just felt like she had to be as authentic as possible in this documentary. I mean, she was really real. And I just feel like one of my favorite quotes that she said in this documentary, and I literally, I think rewound like 3 times after she said it, but she said, I didn't know I was me.
Yeah, I remember her saying that, yeah.
And when she said that, I was just like, wait.
How do you not know that you were the Mary J. Blige?
No, but when you're coming up, like, I mean, she was basically trying to say that had I known when I was 9, had I known when I was 12.
Oh, yeah, she said it's going back to that little girl.
When I was younger, that I was going to be me, like, I wouldn't have let all those things get to me the way that I did. Yeah. I wouldn't have let somebody put their hands on me the way that I did.
But then that wouldn't have made her hurt.
It had to happen for her to be her. But at the same time, she was like, I didn't know I was me. And she said that she had, you know, I personally had to think about it, but she said, I didn't know that I was this person and I was me. And that's why I was able to do what I did. Mm-hmm. So she said, I was this person. I just didn't know it. And that is huge. And so when you think about it, it's like, it's that future aspect of yourself. Where can you be? Where can you go? What can you do? And then how will you look back on yourself and say, oh, if I had known I could accomplish that or done that, I would have done it 20 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like her just not knowing that she was her. And I just thought that was just amazing because like that in itself is probably a semester long course at some college somewhere.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, but I didn't know I was me.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so I just thought it was an actually, amazing documentary for it being something that was executive produced by her. She did amazing job of just stepping out of what felt like her comfort zone in order to share information because she did sound like she's basically an introvert.
Yeah.
And she just had to, make this music, get on this stage, become a different persona, all of that. And you could tell in certain clips when she's on stage and the crowd sings her songs.
Yeah.
And
she feels it.
Feel that love. You can
she cries.
She cries.
She can feel that.
You can tell that she's just like, wow, these were words that I wrote when I was going through, and these folks are repeating my words back to me.
That's powerful. That kind of gave me chills.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a really good documentary. Again, it's on Amazon Prime. I think it's less than 2 hours or close to it or something like that. It's not the 4 or 8 hour or whatever one that Janet Jackson had, but you get so much more out of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
well, then also, I would say this: the difference between Mary J. Blige and Janet Jackson is Janet Jackson was born in, into a celebrity family. So I think that the reason that her documentary is probably so hush hush is because that's all she knows. It's
you're protected. You're protected. It's just like Kanye and Kim's children.
Yeah.
They were born into this world that everything is exposed and everything about you is out there, so you become protective. And so therefore I think that you're right. I think that as we see them grow up, they're not going to be out and you're not going to know that much. It's kind of just a mystery wrapped in a enigma,
maybe, or then maybe not. I mean, because they're having issues now, like Kanye and apparently Kim are having issues now. He's not allowed on the property and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I was speaking more from the kids' perspective,
because he said, "Hey, don't have my kids on social media."
Right. Well, because I think North is on
like TikTok
right now, and so I think that's causing some drama. But I don't know if Kim necessarily wants her on there either, because I mean, any parents want to protect their children, especially celebrity children, as long as they can.
Yeah, because there are crazy people out there.
There are that for sure.
Crazy people out there, but I Mary J. Blige.
Yep. So that's what I had on Prime. So thanks. Yours next.
So I also have one from Prime. Okay. It's a movie that just came out. It's called I Want You Back.
I Want You Back.
Me. So it is starring Charlie Day, who is hilarious. I love his voice.
That's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Get it out. Did you stroke out just a little bit? Okay. Yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I like Charlie too.
Yeah, Charlie Day. And then Jenny Slate. The lady who's like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's them two, and then it also has Scott Eastwood in it, Gina Rodriguez, and Manny. I don't know if it's Jacinto or Jacinto.
Oh, okay.
But what it is, all right, so it's two people who are newly dumped.
Okay.
So the two people, Charlie Day, Jenny Slate. They get dumped by Scott Eastwood and Gina Rodriguez.
Okay.
So now how they end up meeting is they're on social media, and then they go to their ex's page, and then they see like their ex is on like in a new relationship. So what do? They both go, they're in this building. Like this, like a big building that, it's different floors, different businesses. And they go in this building, and then they're both in the stairwell crying. And then they can hear each other crying. They're like, I'm sorry. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm sorry too, And they're just looking at each other back and forth. And they're just like, all right, whatever. So then they were like, you know what? Let's go and get drunk. So then they go and get drunk, and then they come up with this elaborate plan that they're going to sabotage their current ex's relationships.
Oh, okay.
Like Charlie Day, you go over to Scott Eastwood and you like messed that up. And then I'm going to go over to Gina Rodriguez and mess that up because now she's dating this dude who was played by Manny, was it Jacinto?
Okay.
So it's just about that, but then it's the worst idea ever. But then they end up becoming good friends.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's the worst. How it plays out is so funny. Like, Charlie Day he goes to Scott Eastwood, who works at a gym, who's a trainer. And now Charlie Day is just like, oh my God, like, I feel good. Like, how did you get me to run 4 miles? Mm-hmm. So now he's just like all into it. He gets invited to the wedding. Oh, gosh. Like, all this stuff. So, I mean, it's how they all mix this up in together is so clever and so cute. But I enjoyed it.
Is it a TV show or a movie?
It's a movie.
That. A movie. Okay, yeah. A movie. All right.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. It's really cute. You know how they just they get drunk and go to karaoke. You know how they have the karaoke rooms in places?
Yeah.
So they're there, and then they just get really drunk. They're singing, "Isn't it ironic?" And
don't you think?
Yeah, they're singing all that stuff, and then they're just like, "Hey, you know what? Whenever you feel like you want to call your ex, you call me." So then they become good friends, and then it's just like, yeah, we should just go ahead and you should break up such and such, and I should break up such and such. It's like, okay, let's do it. So that's just basically how the movie goes. But you have to watch it. The funniest stuff happens in it. Charlie Day, I don't know what's up with Charlie Day and houses and being in houses and always something crazy happening to him. Because when he was in Horrible Bosses.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He was like, is this a thing of cocaine? And the cocaine falls, and then it flies in his face, and he was like, I'm trying to go over to cocaine. I can't go over to cocaine. He's just going back and forth, So it's like something bad always happens when he breaks into a house.
Right. Maybe he should just not break into houses.
But he works so good with that.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's hilarious. So definitely check that out.
Facial expressions. I use his meme all the time.
His facial expression, his voice.
It's very animated. For sure. So he's
imagine how much he got picked on when he was younger, and now he's just because of his voice, and now he's just like, no,
cha-ching.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But
check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's called "I Want You Back."
I want you back. There you go. All right, great.
What you got next?
I have Kimi.
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 What's Kimi?
Kimi is actually on. See, most of the things I talk about, you've seen or you know about. See, now I got you.
Aha.
All right.
Where's the spoon? Aha.
So Kimi is actually on HBO Max, and it stars Zoe Kravitz.
Kimi, I've seen the thing for it, but I haven't watched it. Okay,
see? Okay, well, because
it
you know a little bit about it.
It kind of looks like an anime. It kind of looks like a real life anime.
No.
I'm saying the poster for it,
the poster for it, because she has blue hair too.
Yeah, she has blue hair, and is it pink or purple or something like that in it?
And it's pink later, and all of that kind of stuff. But so it stars Zoe Kravitz, and she is a tech worker. And I guess let me start with saying Kimi is actually like Siri or like Alexa, right? Okay. So you say, "Hey, Kimi," and she's like, "How can I help you?" And then whatever, cut on the lights, turn on the radio, do whatever, call 911, something, anything. So anyway, so Zoe Kravitz is a tech worker for the company that Kimi is. So Kimi's overall company, she works for that company, and she listens to every error. So when somebody says no, so it's like, "Kimi, can you do XYZ?" And somebody says no. Then she has to figure out why was it that Kimi didn't answer that question correctly. Yeah. Does that make sense?
I got you. Yeah.
So she's
fixing all the little bugs. She's
fixing the bugs.
But she's hearing everybody.
She's hearing people, but it's people doing weird stuff. It's like, kids will just make one of those knock knock jokes or something,
but it's
and then Kimi is like, "I don't know what you mean," kind of thing.
Is there a person that actually does that?
I have no idea, but funny enough, in the movie, she says she used to do something with Facebook of looking at algorithms of things or something like that. So it possibly could be something that somebody has a job doing. Yeah. So basically, she also has agoraphobia, where she can't leave the house.
Then that's a perfect job for you.
Yes. So she's in the house. She's constantly working on her computer. Yeah. She will listen to different calls throughout the day and then fix the errors. So if somebody says, for example, I don't know, "Kimi, is your, I don't know, go check out your refrigerator because it's running," or something like that.
Yeah.
Kids are trying to make a joke. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. But then if Kimi didn't get it, then she can put in response should be blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing, to be able to answer this question for this person the next time Kimi gets this question. So it just makes Kimi stronger and better every time. So the CEO and president of the company is like, hey, look, Kimmy's not listening when you're, not talking to Kimi. She's not paying attention to anything you're saying. You have to alert Kimi, and then she'll, respond. And he's just, putting all these things out there, which you're trying to figure out, are these things true or are they not true as you're looking at the show?
It's just wiki.
Yeah, exactly. So she has friends that she she looks out the window and there's a guy who's a friend of hers. So she's texting him and it's like, okay, somehow she's like, you don't even know she has an issue with going outside at first. And she's like, okay, I'll meet you at the food truck right downstairs, because she's looking across at somebody that she met through the pandemic, because everybody was just looking out the windows and talking to each other through the pandemic. So she met this guy. They've been texting each other. So now she's like, okay, I'll meet you down at the food truck. And she goes and she puts on a coat, she puts on a purse, she puts things in there, she's putting on hand sanitizer. And her hand sanitizer routine is hilarious, because she puts it on and then, wipes her hands. Yeah. And then she holds them in front of her like a robot, and she just shakes them to dry them. She got to dry them. Yeah, but it's normally people will shake it almost like flimsy, but she's very rigid with how she does things every single time. And so the guy's downstairs. He's looking. He's waiting. He's like, okay, where's she at? He's excited, yeah. She has the key, because she has a double lock on her door. So she has a key on her door, okay, I'm going to try to get out. I'm going to try to unlock the door. I'm going to try to leave. And next thing you know, she's taking off the coat. She's taking off the purse. She's just sitting back down. Anxiety, she just can't leave. So then what happens is that she's listening to a recording, and she hears something that sounds like a woman who needs help over extremely loud, noises, heavy metal music. Yeah. So it's almost like somebody made the music be so loud so you couldn't hear the woman crying and screaming for help in the background. Yeah. And so she's able to manipulate it and do all of this stuff to kind of take down the sound of the music, so that she can actually hear the voice, and you hear the woman, and she's like, stop. No, and she's screaming and crying and all this kind of stuff. And so she's like, oh my gosh, there's an emergency. I need to make sure somebody's aware of this. Okay. So she sends it to somebody, and they're like, didn't I tell you not to send me this? We're not getting involved in people's personal stuff. We're not even supposed to be analyzing it to this degree. Is it an error? Is it an issue? Let's just get it off your plate and keep it moving. But she's like, I can't let it go. I think her condition also has it where she's like a bull, or what do they say? A dog with a bone, I guess you would say. Yeah. I don't even know if that's accurate. But basically, she's like, now that I know this, I have to make sure she's okay. So she just kind of takes it. And then she's like, well, who can I talk to about it? And he was like, well, the communications, whatever lady, she can potentially help you. So she's like, okay. So then she's trying to get in contact with this lady, trying, to the point that the poor admin assistant for the lady is like, hello again. It's nice to talk to you. Yeah, I know your voice now. Yep, I recognize your number. Yeah, she's still not available. And she's like, well, just come in and set up a meeting. And she's like, I can't. And they're like, well, why not? And she's like, it's just not convenient, whatever. Yeah. So then finally, the lady that she's been trying to reach, that she has to give this recording to, does say, okay, look, I am going to take this extremely seriously. It sounds very important. Yeah. We need to get the FBI involved, because they may need to look and see what's going on with the situation. Come inside come to my office and let's talk about it. So then you see the poor girl just struggling to get out of the house, to go to the office, because she's like, this is so important. I have to do need to leave the house to give her this recording. So because they also said, don't send it over the internet, because if anybody finds out that we're doing this extra work behind the scenes, then they're not going to trust that we're not listening in on these things all the time. So anyway, she has to physically take it. So she gets to the office. It's Rita Wilson as the boss, who is Tom Hanks' wife.
Oh, okay, I love her.
Yeah, she's great. She's in there for 15 seconds. It's so funny to see a little
cameo.
Her. Really small cameo in this movie, but she, is in there and she's talking, and she's like one of those bosses that pretends that she cares, but she really doesn't. So then when she gets there, she kind of realizes that maybe that's not the case. And then I've told you all this at the show. Yeah. At that point, everything goes bonkers.
So it's not already crazy. Now it's starting to get crazy.
Yeah, so everything that I've shared is just the beginning. The beginning. Not the beginning.
I want to see this already.
Yeah, but it's then you see how everything unfolds and how much they are willing to, what they are willing to do to protect this company that, oh, by the way, is getting ready to have its IPO and become on the stock, exchange. So because you heard this, because which she heard, I didn't tell you exactly what she heard, but also she was able to work with a hacker friend who was like, hey, I don't know if he's a hacker exactly. He works for the company too, but he was able to give her some kind of codes that she could use to delve into every single time this woman said, "Hey, Kimi."
Oh, wow.
So every time she said, "Hey, Kimi," she could listen to what she said. And what the woman would do, which was kind of interesting, every time somebody would ring her doorbell, she'd be like, "Hey, Kimi, record."
That's smart.
So she was recording everything that would happen when people would come into her house. So now here is, the character of Zoe Kravitz, who's like, oh, I know this lady now. Like, I'm hearing what she's doing.
I know this voice, what's going on. I feel like I really know her.
Yeah, I know who her boyfriend is now. I know his name. Like, I know whatever. Like, all this stuff. And is he the one who did this to her or whatever, So that all kind of comes to a head. And then everything the company would do and her being outside the house, but then trying to get back in the house, and it all goes bonkers from there.
But it sounds like it's a, like, if you're an empath, I feel like then that would probably be a movie that you would probably be like, it's kind of like when you watch a movie and like you see somebody holding their breath underwater and you want to hold your breath.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those. Now the funny thing is that as everything gets a little crazy, it kind of has a little comedic piece to it as well, where you're just like, ooh, that's ugly. Ooh, that's a lot of blood or something like that. Yeah. But then you're just like, oh my gosh, like the way in which they write it, it's almost like, and I know you and I'll talk about that girl who lives across the street from the girl in the window and blah, blah, blah show at some point. But like how that had that like, oh, this is terrible. But gosh, did they just make a joke in this terrible sentence? What is going on?
Yeah, I love that.
And that's one of the things that I felt like towards the end I was getting from this, where it was just like, oh, this is very dark, but funny a little bit, like kind of thing. So anyway, but I enjoyed it. So again, it's called Kimi, Kimi. And it is on HBO Max.
HBO Max. All right, I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Sounds really interesting. It was a quick watch too.
And then I like Zoe Kravitz as a actress too.
Yeah, I think she's really good in here. And I would say she is probably on the screen by herself 70% of this movie because of the fact that
so it's like that
she's
movie,
in the house by herself.
Movie that I was telling you about, Guilt, that had Jake
Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal.
Yes, we can't say his name.
It is Gyllenhaal.
I know, but we both
said Gyllenhaal at first.
We both struggled.
Yeah, exactly.
But it has him on it. But I mean, like it's the same kind of thing because he hears something and he's a dispatcher, and then it's like he's trying to get help, and they're just like, okay, but look, we can't do this, and we know you. Okay, you're calling again. What did we tell you? We need this information. Exactly. So but no, those I like those kind of movies.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then just to see her, the way in which she maneuvers when she gets out her house, like she walks very quick, small steps, very fast, like robotic almost. But then she's walking against the wall. Like she does not walk in the middle of the wall. She walks against the wall. But even outside, if she's walking along a building, she's walking against the wall. She's waiting for the train up against the wall until it comes, and then she goes. So it's like she does an amazing job on this.
So she did a lot of research.
A small film probably, that isn't going to get, a lot of acclaim. I don't know if it would have even come out in a movie theater or not.
It probably wouldn't. But
I thought it was really good. So, all right. Well, that's what I had, Kimi. So, all right. So your last one.
My last one is the World War III that is about to start.
Oh, goodness. I know. Depressing.
I know. I know it's sad, but I mean, this is what we're going through.
It's real.
It's real. This is the reality. So it is about Ukraine and Russia taking over them. It is horrible.
Yeah, because you're following different stories on TikTok, right?
Yeah, I'm on the news. Yeah. Like people that are talking on YouTube. Like I'm following it, and this is probably like the first war that I actually really followed the information on, because when we had the
Gulf War, you were
Gulf young. War, I was young, yes.
Yeah. But you're talking about from after 9/11.
Yeah, after 9/11, it's because but see, you know what? I feel like with Afghanistan, they only showed us because I feel like with Afghanistan they only showed us what they wanted us to see.
Well, it wasn't because as much social media out so that you could see it.
Yeah, but then also it's because it was like America was over there. Mm-hmm. Now America's not even in it yet. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing all the stuff that's happening.
Right now,
everything that's happening. So they have train stations that are underground that the government is telling them, hey, these are like built-in bomb shelters.
Yeah.
So please go to train stations.
That's your bunker.
And yeah, that's going to be your bunker, and just like, stay in there. It's going to be the safest place for you. Which is like really sad, and because how many people are just like sitting in a train station and like you don't even know if you can leave, if you walk out, are you going to get shot and killed? Are you going to get run over by a tank like that video that I saw? Like there's houses that are being destroyed. There's a man who was driving down the street and a tank just comes and swerves directly towards that car to run over it.
Yep.
To hurt this man, and then there's like people who are out there trying to save him. It's like, but there's nobody, there's no police.
Yeah. And there's no reason, when you see that video, there's absolutely no reason for that tank to like cross lanes. Literally run over a car simply because the person was just driving down the road.
And it was like a little old man.
Directly over top of it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like the people were trying to get him out, but there's no... They didn't have any, like, I guess, like a 911. There's nothing you can call. They don't have the jaws of life to get out. Nobody's doing that. It's where the country is under attack. So it's just like, yo, if you're stuck, like, we can do the best, but we're not gonna say we'll be able to get you out. You know? Like, there's videos of people who have like their apartment. It's a video of like somebody's like child's room. You see toys and everything around, but then you see like there's a hole in the building.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really sad. And, I mean, like, definitely, pray for Ukraine. And hopefully, I don't even know.
I just hope that it just is quick. Like, I hope it's just a situation where, okay, yes, you're trying to wield your power. Yes, you're trying to say how powerful your country is and your army is. But in the end, that it's not something that, like you starts a World War III officially.
But I mean, it's gonna. I mean, I feel like it's going to, because the only way it's not is if Ukraine just gives up.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunate because they worked and fought so hard to be separated from Russia. Yeah. So
I mean, like, that's like, it's like, yo, we don't want to be around you, and it's just like, oh, okay, we want you back now. So.
And it's so many people who live here in this country who have family members and people that they're scared and worried about and caring for and all of that. So
it's so much, it's so much. And then just like, and then you got to think about the people who are here also, who are just like, yo, my kid just joined the military. Now I know my child's going to end up going to war. If we end up going into war with them because we are their ally, like, my child's going to go to war. I might lose him. Like,
it's the reality of what our world is right now. Unfortunately,
you know what I'm saying. So I mean, it's really, really sad.
Get out of one war to get into another. It almost feels a little premeditated,
like,
but
so
I'll leave
quick.
That alone.
Yeah, let's leave that alone.
Leave that alone.
Let's leave that alone.
So.
But yeah, it's just it's really sad. But definitely, like,
Pray for Ukraine.
Pray for Ukraine. Send positive vibes, like healing energy. Send whatever you can.
And civilian casualties. Hopefully, although there's already been some, from what I had seen on the news, I have been, like, more about all of this than I do, because I have actually been trying to take a step back and not engage too much
because
in it,
it's depressing.
It is. It's very depressing, and it is. It's just. I know that where my prayers will go, but at the same time, I don't feel like I need to see it. If that makes sense.
I understand.
Like, I can have the care and compassion, but
my thing is, I feel like I have to see it in order for it to be a reality, because I'm not there.
Right. Yeah. No.
That's how I am. So now I'm just like, if I'm seeing all of this and it's like everywhere, and it's just like. Oh my God, because it is like helpless people. It's just like, it's just, just everybody's just like hanging out, chilling in a coffee shop, and then a tank comes up and just drives over you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And they're just aiming for cars, anything.
People.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter.
Shooting buildings.
Like, you're out here, you're fair game.
Yeah. Like, missiles are being launched like into just an area.
Right.
Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand like, why is it that a war is not the two militaries against each other? Why is it the military and the people?
Yeah, the people in that area.
Why isn't it just like the two militaries against each other?
I have no idea, but
was that how wars?
Because the people get caught in the middle. That's
yeah,
the
but
thing,
wasn't
the people have to get out? Like it's like you didn't even give. Like they were showing because I mean, of course, I'm not totally disengaged from it because I've seen different things and all of that, but they were showing where these cars were just lined up for miles and miles just trying to get out of the area. And then you're just caught in the crossfires of everything that's going on because of the fact that you just didn't have enough time. And I'm sure that there were flights that they were slowing down to be able to get out of the country because who knows what missile they might, have sent last week, as something to kick it off. So it's like you just only had so many limited options to be able to get away and not get caught in the middle. Yeah, and so, I mean,
it's just like they're like how many people are in different countries right now? Excuse me. How many people are in different countries right now that are? How many people are in Ukraine that are actually from a different country? You know what I'm saying? Like. I'm visiting Ukraine,
right,
and then it's like we're in war, like, but I gotta get home.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like no, you're not getting home.
Exactly, yeah, because like I mentioned to you briefly that I knew someone who, when we were leaving from a trip to Greece, they went through Ukraine to get back home. Like their flight just delayed over in Ukraine. They were there. Their next flight was the next morning, so they were kind of excited because they were like, "I'll just do a tour of Ukraine." And so they had all of these pictures of them being in Ukraine. And it looked beautiful from what I saw from everything they shared. And I know that person is probably like, oh my gosh, like what is going to still be standing if I go back to Ukraine again?
No, it's just really sad. And it's just, like I said, just, send your prayers, thoughts and prayers, any like all positive and healing energy to Ukraine.
Absolutely.
It's just, it's sad that there's even, it is sad that there are people that are, like feel so powerful that they have to just
because I don't know if there has been any, at least that I have heard. I don't think that I've heard of any reasoning why right now at this moment
I don't think
this needs to happen. Like I think it's just I want to, but I don't know if I've heard Putin say this is what I need to have happen because this happened. Yeah, they did this.
I feel like it was y'all separated from us, so. Now this,
but that's not like it was yesterday.
Yeah, no, but maybe there was their plans the whole time. Trying to make we got to make our army as strong as possible because we're going to go in, and we know that if we go in, NATO's going to get into it, and once that happens, then we have to make sure we have the force behind it to build all this other crap. So,
it's our lives right now. And so we're going to, like you said, send positive energy towards Ukraine. And just thanks everybody for joining us for this week's this week's show.
Shout out to Mike Palmer. Because he knows what I'm doing with this phone up against his microphone.
So thank you for joining us on Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.